Let's start. I think our target audience is online. So this actually, usually if I do this in a workshop, it will be a 3-day workshop. Now we are having 1 hour to discuss this topic, what is been a 3-day program. So let me first set your expectation about this topic. Uh, it's a very vast area that we are trying to discuss. But what I am trying to achieve through this webinar is to give you some insights and some key points where you can go back to your working environment and start thinking, how do I get my work done, or how do I get my business up and running with the small amount of people that I have. And also at the same time, how do I enable some of my work to be done remotely? So that's my main objective of this webinar. So I will touch on key points. Some of them I will elaborate to give you insights. And also we will discuss some of the critical functions that you can automate easily. So with that, let's start. There are actually 6 areas I will touch upon during this 1 hour. We will talk about how do you understand the critical areas that needs to start, and also how do you decide who comes, who is not coming in, and what functions to be enabled first, and what functionals will be kept on hold. And also, how do I identify my 20% of staff that will come to office? So what is the rationale behind it? How do you select that team? You just call them and ask, can you work from home, and ask the rest to come? Or is there a logical way of doing it? And fourth, we will talk about how do you enable some of the people who are working from home, and how do you get some of the technologies across to them? How do you get some of the devices across to them so that they can start working from home? And also we will talk about some of the popular tools that is available currently, and how do I use those tools to your business environment. And also last not least, actually, one of the critical points, what is digital transformation and what it is meant for your business. So we will discuss a little bit on that as well. So then finally we will hit on a Q&A session so that some of you can ask questions so that we can try to answer. So going to the first part beforehand, I want to highlight here that when you start thinking what part to be starting and what part to be given to work from home kind of a environment, first you need to understand there's a paradigm shift the way you look at your work. So you should not be going to office with a mindset saying, these cannot be done from home, these cannot be done, remotely. Without this guy, I can't do work. That kind of, if you have a mindset like that, you end up with the same set of people working at home office, and you will not be able to get some of the work actually up and running. So my first advice to you is get yourself into this new paradigm, and try to have an open mind, and then start planning your work at office. So with that, I also want to highlight this word paradigm, because now, for example, if I say school, definitely you will think about teacher, students, desk, tables, then a whiteboard. So that's the paradigm of a school that we have defined in our mind. But today you can understand that teacher is in one at home, and students are at their home, and through the technology they connected, and they do various activities, and sessions are being discussed. So there's no whiteboard, there's no desk, there's no classroom, but the teaching happens. So same principle, there's a paradigm shift in our work. When you say work, you think about a building, you think about a security guy, you think about the admin guys, You think about the cleaning staff, you think about the table, desk, and the boss around and all that. But that paradigm going to shift to a new dimension. So then you need to have an open mind. How do I look at work? So that's the foundation for our webinar. With that, we will move to the next. So the next question is, what are the critical areas in your business and what needs to start? So in that sense, how do we work towards our objectives? First, as a team, as people in your organization has to get together, key people has to get together and decide what are we trying to achieve, or what are we trying to accomplish during next 3 months, next 6 months. Maybe it's a 3 months plan that you need to work out with the current context where the society is in a situation where the social distancing is a norm. So in that context, your key team has to get together and trying to understand what you are trying to achieve. So are we trying to, now for example, are you all trying to sell all the existing stock without manufacturing? Or are you trying to improve the services what you have already sold to customers and trying to see how they are working and what else needs to be done? So like that, you need to get together and prioritize your strategies and understand what is needs to be done. That is the starting point. Without this discussion, you can't decide who is going to be at home and who is going to be at office, and what departments going to function and what departments will be closed off. Like that you can't decide until you have this conversation and have a strategic plan. What is our organization objective? And from that only you need to come into the next topic or next activity that you're going to do. By looking at that, based on your objective, you need to look at, to fulfill that objective, what business functions needs to start. So now we are deriving from the objective to the action items, which are activities that helps to deliver an objective that you have set up. So with that, you need to understand high level. Okay, to achieve this objective, for example, if you are saying that you are going to get more orders and sell the existing stock, then to do that, what departments needs to get involved? The stores has to get involved, maybe finance team has to get involved, and sales needs to get involved. So these three departments will be sufficient to dispose these stock in our stores. So that is the high level discussion, high level business functions you will look at. Then each business function you will look at. Within that, what do you need to do? For example, if the stores has a ordering team where they order goods from overseas, maybe that team does not need to work because there's no ordering happening. But the disposing or the store's operation, physical stock movement, that team needs to work. So like that, you will look at the business function, then you look at the sub functions. So how do you come to that is based on your first exercise, which you identify your strategy or your objective of your organization. So for example, now I have listed down here two functions, which is customer service and sales. And also from there, you have listed down, for example, customer service will have receiving calls from the customers. Then you redirect calls to certain people. Then also you follow through to certain activities. And also you get feedback from the customer whether he or she is happy with the service. So these are the activities under one department. So like this, you need to list down and identify what needs to be done. Once these two exercises been accomplished successfully, Then you can start identifying what are the jobs naturally fit for working from home. There are certain jobs naturally is fit for working from home. For example, the call center staff actually can work from home if they are being given those tools to use. Now, how do you identify what jobs? Some of the indicators are you don't need physical presence at office. Then you are being given technology support to get your work done. And you're highly depending on your phone, email, and your computer to get your work done. So these kind of jobs are ideal for getting work from home. So you can identify after the list what are the people or who are the people who can work from home based on this category. Then if you look at shares, most of the service functions I have seen in my past working environments, most of the service functions are ideal for working from home. Sometimes they might argue saying, no, I have to be here face to face with the employees. For example, HR team can work from home as long as they have a way to get in touch with the employees, as well as they have access to some of the tools or the HRIS kind of a software. Then they can work from home. And they might say, no, we have to be at office because we want to see the people and whether they are working. And also then you can say, okay, why don't you use video to get in touch, or can you access our video systems so that you can talk to people. So like that you can decide how you are going to interact and which teams to be really kept at working from home. But remember, when you are saying somebody to work from home, they are to be supported with the tools. If you are not providing tools or gearing them up to work from home, then they get handicapped and they might end up spending a lot of money on their phone bills, as well as they will lot of on their data packages because they will be connecting through internet and taking calls to people. So be aware of that. Now the next step is, now you have identified the work can be done from home, and there's the rest of the activities that has to be now analyzed and decide how to configure them. Now in that exercise, you need to look at your building blocks of your business. Now there are work that cannot be actually done from home. For example, people dependent physical presence is needed, then definitely those people has to be at office. So those cannot be automated. So now, for example, people who are loading stocks to lorries or vehicles cannot be working from home because they have to be physically present at the office. So you need to identify what are the activities that needs physical presence than the dependence. Then you will decide there can be certain activities are carried out by five, six people over a department. And today you need to look at and see whether some of those work can be merged. Can one person do two functions? Or is there a way to get things done by less people? So that has to be looked at, that has to be discussed, that has to be thrashed with other people. And then you need to, because once the need is given, or once that environment is given to a certain person, sometimes it works. For example, you go and say your team that only 3 can come and try to solve it. They might come up with a solution because that's the situation. So because of that, they might look at the ways to reduce people. So it doesn't mean that you're cutting off work and getting some of the people out of your team, but what you're trying to do is, at this given scenario, trying to find out what work can be done and what work can be done by less people. I can give you certain other options also in this same thinking. For example, in your department, maybe there are a few people verify the invoice, approve the invoice, then you again go to another person and get the approval. Like that, certain activity is happening. Now, in this scenario, you can now look at, can one person verify and approve? Do you need three people to do this activity? So these are some of the areas that you can look at. And also sometimes your volume of work is now got reduced. Maybe you don't get that much of orders or that much of deliveries that you're going to do within a day. So because of that, your volume, when the volume gets lower, you can actually reduce number of people as well. So you need to look at what needs to be shortened. Also remember, when you are doing these exercises, sometimes you forget the dependencies, because sometimes certain activities has to happen to the next activity to be done. For example, orders has to be received and entered for the person to make bills and also a person to make the packaging. So if the orders are not received and captured, then the rest of the activities will not happen. So you need to look at what are the dependencies and then work on those as well, because sometimes you may take off the person taking orders, then the rest of the functions cannot go through because the starting point is not there. So be careful when you are shortening certain activities. Now it comes to, with those exercises, you are now actually drilling down, sorting, reducing and filtering the work, the number of people that needs to come into your organization. So with these activities, you will find I have 100 people, now 20 can work from home, another 30 can be configured to work from home, and the rest of 50 needs to somehow come in, and you need to look at again how you're going to rationalize that. So by looking at the activities that you have done, say for example, the sales function is now carried out with 3 people. There's one guy who collect orders and do the invoicing, another guy do packaging and verifying whether the packing list is correct, and a third guy delivers and collect payments. So in this sales function, now you can look at how do you partition this work, where some of them work from home, some of them will come to work. Now my example now, for example, given here, Nimal is going to work from home because, yeah, he is being given a computer and have the access to the billing software so that he can start collecting orders from his computer, and then he can enter those invoices by himself to the system. Whereas Amal can now look at the packing list based on the invoices. So now you are splitting or partitioning your activities and then looking at who is going to work from home by doing this exercise. Now, now in this slide, again, I am showing the same thing, but here now, for example, Nimal is now working from home. Now you need to find out how do you bridge this partition, because one person is now at home, 2 people at work. Now, when you do this split, how do you get the information across to the other people? Because physically, Nimal is not at office. Earlier, Nimal can shout and say, Machang, can you do this? And Amal will get the packing list done. But now, Nimal can't shout like that because Nimal at home. So you need to find out, once you split the partition, the work, how do you get those information across to the other people? That's where your collaboration platform needs to come in. For example, you may use a WhatsApp group and put these 3 people into that group, where once the Nimal done the work for the invoices, he will say, Machang, invoice number 321 is done. So then Amal can then pick up the 3, 2, 1 and then start doing the packing or something like that. So you need to be innovative, creative, looking at how do you connect these people virtually, because physically you are now partitioning because one person is working from home. So these are the places where you need to really put your thoughts in, your experience into it, and then decide how you're going to do. And also for these discussions, make sure your tech guy is with you, or whoever is supporting your technology person has to be there, because he will say, okay, this can be done or this cannot be done based on the current available tools within the organization. And also sometimes he might come up and say, there's a vulnerability for the security. We can't give access from home because there's a security risk. So you need to call again. Are you going to take that risk and start the business, or you look at the security and wait without doing anything? So it's a call within your team. How do we look at this option? Are we going to give access to a person from home or not? And what are the consequences on security side? And how can we make sure it's secure enough to get this done? Because these are the discussion points where your IT guy and your business function guy is going to trash each other and trying to overrun, because sometimes the business function guy wants to get the things done, whereas the IT guy wants to make sure the security is enforced. So you need to take a call and come to a common conclusion. So now, so far what we have done is, I'll just again rush through what we have done through so far. Your organization is having an objective, what needs to be done for the next 3 months, 6 months. Your organization looked at the business functions and also sub-functions. Your organization look at the jobs that is flavored or easy to get done from home. And also you look at intermediate jobs that can be enabled to get work done from home, as long as you give some tools to work. So by doing all that, you are actually identifying who are going to work from home. So once you've done this, the next step is, how do you enable work and how do you get some of the work to be done from home? So what are the tools? So this is one of the highlighting points I want to discuss with you all, because I think most of you all now looking at how do I get these things enabled. So look at basic tools. For example, now Zoom, what we are using now to have this webinar, is a collaboration tool where you can share your screen, you can have a dialogue, you can have a discussion, you can record and so forth. So a tool like this can be used to connect your team and have a discussion and have meetings and so forth. So collaboration tool is the key word that I'm going to use for the next most probably the half an hour, because that's where your work going to happen or revolve around for the next few months or maybe the next decade, because this is where the technology going to tie up all the work together. Now, sometimes, now why I put this slide is because I know most of you all have a challenge like this. For example, all your work is stored at your office computer. Your office computer, my documents folder has everything. And without going to the office, without accessing my documents folder, you can't work from home. Now you will scratch your head and think, okay, how do I now tell my boss everything is there, now I need to physically come? Now in this scenario, you can actually ask your IT guys to install a software called TeamViewer. What does it do? Now what you do is you ask your IT guy to install TeamViewer to your office computer, and also you install that to your home computer as well. Now, once you install to your office computer, your IT guy can enable it and it will give a number. like the number you log into this seminar, same way you will get a number from your desktop computer at your office. You get when you enable this software, you get a number. Now what you can do is from your home computer, you access TeamViewer and enter this number, then it will automatically connect your office computer and show the screen like you seated in front of that computer. So you can look at your My Documents folder. If you have access to certain software which is used by your organization, maybe ERP, maybe some proprietary software that is needed to be accessed by you, all that can be done from your office home computer, because you are getting the desktop image or the desktop view through this TeamViewer. So it's like physically you are going there. So this is a great tool. I have used this also, and I have used this in my mobile phone also, and it can be done in any of the devices, and a great tool to have in a scenario like this. So my recommendation to you is, but remember, your IT guys needs to allow this software to be installed in your computer, and also they need to take a call whether there is any vulnerability on security. But as long as you have a secure environment and secure way of connecting to your desktop computer, I don't think any risk involved. So this is a great tool. So that's why I took some time to explain this tool, because I think a lot of people get benefited with this. And also you need to look at various other tools that is available. There are, now for example, like WhatsApp, there are communication tools which is called Slack. In US and other countries, Slack is very popular, but I haven't heard much about it in Sri Lanka. I think we need to explore these tools and then find out. Slack, High Five, and also I have heard Sri Lanka, a lot of people now using Microsoft Teams. And also there's another tool called Cloud App. So except Microsoft Team, I haven't seen other software being used in Sri Lanka. So I am giving you these names, and you can actually Google and find out, or download and try out and see how those works. Because sometimes certain tools, some teams likes it, the way it is been, the screen layout and all that. So look at what is flavor for you, for your team, and then use it. And also when I say this on to the right side, I have mentioned about project management tools. Now actually this is not real project management, but these are like tools that will track your tasks, track activities. For example, you ask certain person to do ABC. Now you want to track that whether he has done ABC, because you don't see them physically. So you need to have somewhere so that they can mark saying this is done and this is not done, something like that. So that kind of environment, it's like a to-do list, or track day by day what needs to be done, and link together and share some of the tasks. Some of the tasks may be done by 3 people, so you need to see whether the total percentage of that task being done when you have 3 people working on it. So Trello is a good tool. I have used it, and it's a very nice. It has a very nice graphical user interface to use easily. You don't have to be very techy to be using those tools. So like that, to-do list is also another tool. Again, Cloud App also there. So these are actually communication and project management. And also sometimes you need to share files. So Google Docs, Google Excel, Google Word can be used to share sheets, and you can see when one person is editing, you can see what is being edited, and online you can look at it. But remember, when you are using all these tools, your internet connectivity has to be good. If you're having a very low speed internet connectivity, then you will have a hard time getting work done. And also I have used Google Suite as well as Dropbox. Dropbox is also a little bit challenging. For example, if you are sharing large files, and if the file is like 1 GB, Then if you are having a slow connection, especially in Sri Lanka, the connection is sometimes very slow. Then you get frustrated saying, you can't upload the file. Even if you have the tool, you can't get things done because of the connectivity issues. So be mindful when you are sharing files, especially through Dropbox, because sometimes you get frustrated. Sometimes, remember, you can easily upload, but if the other side of the team members having low speed connectivities, then they will have a hard time downloading it. So sometimes you may have a ADSL connection or a fiber optic connection where your speed is very fast. You can, within few seconds, you can upload the file. But remember, if other side of the people are using a slow connection, like a 4G or a mobile connection, then they might have slow connectivity to download. So be careful. And also, this Zapier is a tool or app that links most of these applications that we talk about. It's like a hub where it connects all these tools so that you can, one single point, you can manage all these things. Tell you the truth, I tried to use it, but I couldn't get the real hang of it. But I think, I need to also experiment a little bit and see how it works. But a lot of people are saying, overseas people are saying, it's a great tool where you can link everything together. And also track time, for example, when you are doing certain activities, if you want to track time and see how much time you spend on certain activities, especially when you are working from home, you need to maybe take a log and write down, maybe your HR guys told you to write down how much time you are spending on certain activities. So if you want to track like that, then toggle, it's something, tool that you can use where it tracks what application you are in, how long you're being in that. For example, if you're writing a Word document, when you are start typing, it will take automatically, it will log. And when you are closing the Word document, it will automatically again log, so that you know start time and the end time and how much time you spend. Now we will talk about, now actually we touched on the collaboration tools earlier. Now we are talking about how do you use technology for business. Now in this scenario, like I said, the key is collaboration tools. We don't see these tools as such. We see it as fun to use kind of applications. Now, for example, you might use WhatsApp just to share your fun stuff and video and gossip and all those stuff. But actually, it's a good collaboration tool if you use it wisely. And also you need to remember, different people will use different devices. Now one person maybe use a desktop computer, other one may be using a mobile app because he might be in the field, or he might be in an environment where the computer cannot be used. So in that scenario, how do you use different tools or devices to get connected through everyone? So that's where this software like collaboration tools is needed. And also you need to have certain policies that we will all in this organization going to use WhatsApp groups to connect everyone, because sometimes you find that HR department use WhatsApp, and then maybe Microsoft Messenger being used by another accounts team, another application is used by a marketing team. Then you find connecting those three together is uh, difficult because you have different communication tools being used. So it's another exercise you need to do. Sit with your tech team and sit with your key managers and decide what are our communication platform. What is our official app that we are going to use? Is it uh, we see, is it going to be WhatsApp? Is it going to be Messenger? Is it going to be a Teamweaver? Like that, you need to decide what are the tools you are going to use, and also what is our official communication platform. Because sometimes people might say, no, if you don't send me an email, I will not get this approved. Or somebody says, no, I'll put it a WhatsApp message or a screenshot from WhatsApp message. Then the other party might say, no, this is not official. You need to send me an official one. Without email, I will not move in. So these kind of activities, this dialogue will happen if you don't formalize what tools you are going to use in the future next 3 months, and it has to be communicated to everyone so that everyone agrees to use it. Sometimes you find that you have a lot of WhatsApp groups in your phone, and then you can't actually do much of a work because always it beeps up saying a message is there, then you can't do your official work also. Then you might need to decide, okay, I'm going to use two phones, or in my official phone I will not use any other groups. I will remove all the other groups and keep only the groups which is belongs to my organization. So you need to do some of the rationalization like that, because you need to understand that when you have these tools, they are also helping you as well as they are also overloading you. So you have to be very careful how you're going to use these tools going forward. So that's just a highlight about the tools. I am not actually going to talk about technical side of how do you enable the tool, how do you connect, how do you create the groups, what are the naming conventions and so forth. You need to actually have those kind of policies done. Now, for example, how do you create group names in your WhatsApp group? For example, are you going to say finance, HR, or like that? Or if you have multiple organizations within your large conglomerate, then how do you create groups? Are you going to put the first three letters of the company and then the function name? For example, uh, KBL and then say HR. So that is a particular organization within your group, the HR function. So and then somebody looking at the group, it's easy to identify. So you need to look at all these things, have your policies done, have your discussions been done, have a common platform, as well as communicate all these things to all staff. Don't share with your managers and they only know what is being used, what is being done, but share everything with all the team members and make sure everyone is in the groups, and don't leave some of the people outside, because psychologically they will break down thinking that, okay, now my organization is not wanting me, what is going to happen to my job and so forth. So don't do psychological firing. It's not nice, because everyone is human, everyone needs to be in touch. Okay, also I touch a little bit on this slide. Now I'm actually giving you a caution, because I had a lot of uh, experiences using these collaboration tools and burn down myself because of bad bosses. Because boss is easy to for the boss to click on the WhatsApp group and ask what is happening. That is, it's been done every second, every 5 minutes he can buzz and ask, because it's easy for him to do it. But a person who is getting work done needs some room to get the work done, because sometimes you need 15 minutes to that work to be accomplished. So don't be a boss like that, because you have the tool, because you have the everything is configured on your phone or in your laptop. It's easy to buzz somebody and say, ask, hi, is this been done? It's very easy because it's just a click away. But remember, when you're trying to communicate, ask twice, not only twice, ask thrice, whether it's really necessary for me to make this connection, or is it necessary to ring this person and ask. It is very important, because what I see is most of the productive organizations, they give a task to your team member, give a deadline, and then wait until that deadline is over. But you tell the team, if you find any roadblocks or if you find any issues, immediately come back to me so I will resolve them. So when you set that kind of environment, you don't have to go every 5 seconds and ask whether it's been done or it is been done. Sometimes you have a mindset thinking that if I ask only, work gets done. But you need to change that mindset and set expectation with your team and make sure they understand what you are been given, and they need to take ownership of the work. So my advice to you is, don't overuse technology. and also make the technology as your slave. Don't be a master to this technology, because if you become a master to the technology, then you end up what the technology is going to prompt you in. But if you become a slave, if the technology becomes a slave, you can get the things done the way you want. Okay, now we will talk about the buzzword, or a lot of people now talking about digital transformation. This is where it is happening now, and there's a lot of ha-hoo about it. Now, what is this all about? Now, you will find that most of the work now got transferred using technology. Now, for example, the greatest example I can think of is like supermarkets. Now they started actually sharing WhatsApp numbers so that you can place orders using those WhatsApp numbers. And they will collect these orders by one person based on that particular location. And they will bag them and then put the bill and send it across to you. Now it's actually a digital transformation happened over how the supermarkets work, because you don't physically go to the supermarket anymore. Now, sometimes people might find this is good. I can save fuel charges, I can save time, and I can use the fuel bill to buy my goods. So it's a transformation process. So this is about digital transformation. So what is actually the key words in this is using digital tools or digital technology to integrate your business and deliver value to your customers. What you're going to do is integrate your business. Hello? Okay. Integrate your business to through technology, and same time you deliver value to the customer by using those integrated technology. Now, what I want you all to remember is always remember this example, how supermarkets transform themselves, taking orders and delivering orders. Now, you have to think about your business. What are the activities I need to know? For example, if you have a website, maybe only information was shared. Now, how do we take orders from the website? How do we take orders through web, and how do you automate some of those work so that people who place orders from your website can get the services? Maybe it's a service, maybe it's a product. Anything can be now delivered through technology. And also you need to look at what are the other partners you can link up with. Sometimes you can't do everything by yourself. For example, I think some of the supermarkets are tied up with a delivery organization or taxi services to do delivery. So they tie up with them so that they don't have to think about hiring new staff to deliver goods. They just call a particular taxi service company and say, okay, we are going to tie up with you. We will give you a certain amount to deliver goods. So then overnight they have a whole pool of drivers and vehicles to use to deliver their products. So this is how you need to look at. This is how you need to see the future of your business. If you don't adapt to this environment, what happens to dinosaurs will happen to your big business as well. So you need to adapt to the environment. And also, you will find a lot of challenges when you are trying to change certain things. Especially your organization culture will have a big impact. The culture will get really impacted with the changes that you're going to go through with this digital transformation. How you interact with people, how do you interact with your boss, how do you interact with your co-workers will going to change, and how you're going to share some of the stories, some of earlier what you have been doing now has to be trashed or removed and look at the new ways of doing it. So when you are trying to do this, because of the cultural influences, sometimes you find resistance from people, resistance from your staff, resistance from your bosses. But you need to make sure everyone understand the ultimate goal that you're going to achieve, and then you need to discuss and find out how you're going to transform your organization for the next 3 months, next 6 months, next decade, how you're going to do business in the new form. Okay, now it's time to question and answers. Anyone wants to ask anything? It's open.
Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to ask questions.
If you have particular questions, particular related to particular activity or function in your organization, you can ask. I'm willing to address.
Yes, may I ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead, Nethi.
Yes, hi. Now, there has been certain guidelines that have been put out by the Ministry of Health to be adopted by business establishments. These include, removal of shoes outside and wearing some other shoes inside. Then, sanitizing, the place, and as well as when clients or customers come and they use a seat to see that those are again sanitized and so on. Do you think that all these measures are a little on the very extreme side, or you feel that those are precautions that need to be taken?
Actually, it's a good question. What I see is now I have worked with some of the organization. I can relate to those kind of environments. For example, there was one point where one organization actually installed certain tools. When you enter, you need to use those tools to clean up yourself and go in, because sorry, I think the connectivity was the issue. Can Lakmal can hear?
Yeah, okay. Jagat, we can hear now. Now it's better.
Okay. Okay, let me again rephrase what the question was. These sanitizing and other recommendations given by the authorities to safeguard inside as well as the people who are walking into your business. So in that scenario, I find that you need to actually have these precautionary measures carried out. That is actually to stop spreading the virus.
Okay.
Spreading the virus, because now if I look at this in a technological point of view, now in one of my organization I worked, we had 3,000 computers, and one fine day there was a virus went in and all 3,000 got infected. So the IT teams and everyone got together and clean up these 3,000 computers and install back. And there was one boss who was on vacation, came after 1 month and plugged his computer to the network, and again 3,000 computers again got infected virus because his computer was not actually cleaned up. So this is a physical example I remember, and I can remember again we spent another 3 weeks trying to clean up the computers. So we lost actually 6 weeks because of this one mistake. So same way, I think
I think we lost the speaker.
I think having a bad connection, connectivity.
Okay.
I think it's all about the connectivity issue.
Yeah. And now, what point you all heard me?
No, you said 3,000 computers. That second time also we lost 3 weeks time period, and beyond that,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because there was one computer which was not, actually really quarantine or cleaned up. So because of
Right.
that, when we connected to the network, because all the computers are in one network, so within
Correct.
few seconds, all the other 3,000 computers got infected. So same
Right.
scenario I see. Now you can have 3,000 employees in your organization working. They are really healthy, but you can have one person coming in can
Sure.
cause 3,000 employees to
Disruption.
yes. So I think we need to be vigilant. We need to be thorough with our activities. I also we can use a lot of common sense to, for example, leaving shoes outside and coming in okay, but again, are you wearing your socks and coming in? Then that's a
Yeah.
question again, right? And also, do you have a kind of a bucket or a large pool kind of a thing where it has disinfectants so that you can put your leg and wash and come? Now, for example, a place where I work, when we entered the farm, they had a huge kind of a pool where even the vehicles go through that and get disinfectants so that vehicle is also clean. So those days we used to laugh at it and we make jokes out of it, but it was because they have a 30,000 eggs being hatched in that particular hatchery. So if there's one entire operation get jeopardized. So same way we need to be careful how we are going to conduct ourselves, and also we may have to move the tables far away so that we are not close enough even when we are working. So yes, it's a challenge until entire world and entire country is saying that we got rid of the virus. We have to be in that safe zone so that we can be we are not helping to spread.
Thank you, Jagat. Thank
I
you.
hope,
thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, Jagat, Sampath here.
Yes, Sampath.
How do you decide on that 20% who can come to work?
20% is actually based on for example, I said there are 3 steps. That is, first you decide what you need to do in your organization or needs to up and running or your objective. Then second step is once you know your objective, okay, now example I gave was selling the existing stock, because you are not going to order, but you are going to sell the existing stock. So in that scenario, how do you get your work done? So then you find that you need to have the stores people coming in, some of the sales staff coming in, and also delivery people needs to come in. So from that, then you will list down how many people altogether. So you might end up saying, okay, you have 100 people from those 3 divisions. Then you find out, okay, what is naturally available to work from home. For example, you can get your billing and orders anywhere in the country, because you have a tool to capture your calls as well as you have a tool to invoice. So using a computer through internet, you can do that. So people who are billing can now work from home. So that is going to maybe 10 people going to work from home. Now you end up with another 90 people that needs to come in. Then again, you look at out of those 90, are there any people by giving certain tools or giving certain technology access or automating certain areas or giving a Google document or giving WhatsApp or giving a TeamViewer, kind of tool, whether you can ask them to work from home or you redirect some of the calls that comes into your office to their mobile phones or maybe their residence home or things like that. So then you find that another maybe 10 or 15 people can be again given certain tools and they can work from home. Then you find that there are absolutely certain people who needs to be physically there. For example, people who are working in the stores who needs to move the stock and put it into a vehicle needs to come in anyway. So you find that those kind of people needs to come in. So by doing these exercises, you find out what is 100% easy to get from home. Maybe certain 80% needs to configure certain applications to work from home, and you find another lot no whatever is done they has to be physically there. So with that splitting, you find that the 20% you need to come in, and you find that that 20% maybe not only the physically presence people, certain other people also needs to come in due to certain restrictions, so that you need to work out based on the nature of your work. I hope I gave you answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
So you might find that it's not actually 20% and maybe 31% needs to come in. Then since now the country is allowing us to work on certain day based on the NIC number, you can then get the work split accordingly. For example, people who are ending with number 9 can work on Friday. Anyone else? Okay, I think we can wrap up. Thank you very much for joining us, and hope to see you soon again with another webinar.